What is going on, everyone? My name is Emmanuel, and this is the Sigma Upsilon Mu podcast. Today, we're joined by Anthony Ramirez. He graduated from Cal State Fullerton in spring 2019 as a communications and advertising major and was part of the Gamma Pledge class. During his time in SUM, he was part of the marketing team, helping with email marketing and recruiting. He also went on to become the president of SUM and oversaw the Epsilon and Zeta class. Some of his hobbies include outdoors, which include hiking and going to the beach. So with that said, I want to welcome you, Anthony, to the podcast. Thanks for joining me. How's it going?
Thank you. Thank you so much. Pleasure to be on here. It's going very well today. Can't complain for Taco Tuesday.
Awesome, man. Yeah, so I want to get started right away. So can you talk to us a little bit about your upbringing, childhood, and how were you like as a kid,
Yeah,
elementary, middle school, and high school?
that's an interesting question. So I was born and raised in Fullerton. I lived with my grandparents and my parents for like my childhood until I moved to Corona with my parents. And it's funny that you say how was I as a child because I always saw myself as a very nervous person, but from what my family tells me, I was very outgoing, very extroverted, always wanted to meet people. So I guess you can say that the best way of putting it is I was very curious. Even though I was shy, I definitely like to meet people and ask a lot of questions. But yeah, and then from there, went to high school in Corona and everything like that until actually going to college and applying to Cal State Fullerton and then coming back to my hometown.
Ah, nice, man. So you said you were kind of curious. Like, this, where did this kind of curiosity come from? Or it's just,
I wish I knew too. But I've always been naturally curious, even to this day. And it could be, I mean, to be honest, I just want to know. I love learning, and I know that there's always something I can learn from someone else. Whether it just captures my interest to see what they do and how they do it. So I just want to know. So I just go up to them, ask them questions, and yeah, I love learning too. So that's another big thing, I guess, that goes along with me just being naturally curious.
yeah, man. No, yeah, definitely. That's amazing there. So kind of going a little bit forward in high school, you said, were you pretty shy, introverted in high school?
I was, believe it or not. It was even hard for me to like make orders at restaurants when I would go out with like my high school girlfriend or anything like that. And like the people who loved me my whole life would always support me to like speak up and voice up. And I would be so nervous to do that. Even like public speaking, I'd be so nervous to do it. And miraculously, I don't know even know how, but I was also the high school wrestling coach, or sorry, high school wrestling captain.
Oh,
And it was hard for me to even like rally up my team, even though I was just like, I was just doing my job and just doing the best that I can do. And I like to do that for most things that I do. But it was, I don't know what it was. I was super shy growing up, but I always just had to push forward. I always had a very like good mask. Like people couldn't tell that I was nervous, but deep down, like my heart was racing.
right, right. So it kind of sounds like you were kind of a little bit, like you said, shy and introverted in the inside, but on the outside, kind of people saw you as a leader and good communicator with people, right? Um,
Definitely. Yeah,
how did
definitely. As
you,
crazy as it sounds.
yeah. So how did you personally? Because right now, you're in a sales position, right? You're very good at talking to people. How did you kind of overcome that and realize, I am good at talking to people. I am able to take leadership and kind of
Yeah.
put myself out there a little bit more.
Yeah, I love this question because I'm still trying to like figure it out and process it myself. And there's a few things that I think I've identified. And I mean, hopefully I can get some feedback too from other people. But the first thing was getting out of your own head. That's huge. Like that self-doubt, like that's what was the big thing for me. And I heard it because I love hearing feedback from other people, and I would hear from others who I respected and thought were very intelligent, really smart. I looked up to them. They would tell me very positive things about like my leadership style, my communication style, how I hold myself. And so over time, I start to like kind of like hold on to these because it meant a lot to me. And I was like, I would have to like kind of rustle with my mind, telling myself like, hey, you are capable. You're more than capable of doing it. It's just you're getting in your own way. So as soon as that was the first step, just letting myself, like reminding myself, it's okay to fail, it's okay to look dumb. You're learning, it's a part of the growing process. That was the first big piece. Second big piece, I would say, is similar to the first one, getting out of your own head. It's overcoming the fear, and it's just doing it. Literally jumping off the ledge. Another huge fear of mine is jumping off or heights. And I remember with some, in a totally controlled and safe environment. We went cliff jumping, and that was like for me a huge like overcoming of fear, where my friends were there supporting me. So support is another big thing. Like when you have friends who are encouraging and they know that you're great and they want you to see it for you, and they push you and motivate you to be the best version of yourself. And they helped me like overcome a lot of my different fears, public speaking, just standing up for myself, applying for those jobs that I didn't think I'd be able to get. A lot of support had to do with that too. So not only is it like, mastering yourself, challenging yourself to overcome the fear, but it's also having like a really strong support system and having mentors to help guide you. Cause I think a lot of it is just fear of not knowing where to start or where to go next. So having like mentors, friends, colleagues to help you also shed some light on like what the possibilities are, how capable you are too. So I think it's a combination of all those and more, of course, that maybe we can talk about another time.
Oh that's super insightful, man. I mean, you talked about first, getting out of your own head, right? Then of course, just going for it, and then having a good support group, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
so that's what you kind of started doing. How long did it take you? I know you said, was this something you started kind of practicing, getting more out there in high school, or was this something when you started college? Like,
Yeah.
how was the
Good
process like
question.
for you in terms of just developing yourself in this area?
Yeah. Yeah, I like that question because it could also go back to like, everyone has like their own like timeline, right? Like the way we progress through certain things. And for some people, it's later in life that they come to this sort of realization. I like to think I'm very fortunate that I got started pretty young. Um, I would say it definitely like around right around the age of like 16, 17, I felt like I knew it was an issue of how shy and nervous I was. And I knew I had like ambition inside me, but I remember being too timid to like speak it out, like to voice out what I really wanted. So that's definitely when it started. And then I went like maybe a couple years from like all the rest of high school, like knowing I know I'm capable of more, but how do I get there? And it was just like kind of that lostness of like, I don't know where to get started. And then now I'm in college. I'm a business major at this point. I know that what I want to be successful. I don't know in what yet. I just know there's a drive in me to learn and I want to hang out with people who I thought would be successful. I wanted to be a business owner. I knew that much. But I just didn't have the confidence to like go reach out to certain folks or to like know where to start. Like, what books do I read? What videos do I watch? What do I have to do? What classes do I need to take? Like, I felt very like lost pretty much. I was like 18 at this time. Um, and it was really when I joined some, like as cheesy as it sounds, like it's when I joined some where it felt like I found like the people I was looking for, the resources that I wanted. And it wasn't perfect. It didn't have like everything that I needed, but it gave me enough to be like, oh, this is a great starting point. And I like these people, and these people I really vibe with them, and we can figure things out together, which we did. A lot of our friends, even to this day, like we're constantly helping each other, constantly trying to learn from one another. And even though we've gone on different paths, I've done sales, I have friends who've gone in marketing, finance, operations, etc. We all learn from each other. And I love teaching too. I love sharing what I've learned too. And I might have went off tangent there. Was that the original question, or did I kind of go a little off?
No, yeah, no, that was a good answer. I think you kind of explained your. No, the question pretty much was like how long, what was the process like, and you kind of explained, what you did
Yeah,
and what
definitely
you did.
years in the making. But I would say like from a young age, I knew it, I felt it inside me.
Yeah,
And then it wasn't until I was like 18, 19 where I felt like, okay, the longer I wait, the more time I'm wasting. So I have to go find a group. I have to go find a tribe, people that are going to help me improve, help me grow, even though it might be uncomfortable and it's going to be challenging for myself. Like it's better than being stuck. So ever since I was like 18, 19, it's just been constantly trying to, meet new people, get out of my comfort zone, have as many interesting conversations as I can.
right. Yeah, no, yeah. So kind of, I wanted to touch upon one last thing before moving on to the next thing.
Yeah.
So now, like, um, now you're in a different position in terms of overcoming kind of just your shyness and stuff. Would you say you get sometimes in your head a lot? Not a lot. Would you say you get it in your head and sometimes those thoughts coming back now, or did you kind of overcome it completely?
No, dude, they always come back, man. They never go away. That self-doubt, at least personally, it always lingers, but I've been thinking about this a lot lately, and this might sound cheesy, but at this point of where I'm at in my life, I feel like I'm running on passion.
Yeah.
So I'm running on passion. So it's like those self-doubts get quickly washed away when I realize what I'm doing isn't just about me. It's about like my team. It's about the people I'm trying to help. It's about family, other areas that like for my goals. So I get them all the time, man. I cold call for a living. And every time you cold call someone, you get someone on the other line who doesn't want to speak to you. It's so easy to fold up like a chair and just be like, well, sorry for calling you today. I'm gonna go F myself and hang up. Um, Instead it's being present. That's I guess another thing I could say that helps out with getting out of your own head is just being present. And once
Right.
you're present, you kind of forget about that head, because what's happening is that you're thinking about what to say versus just like listening listening and seeing what the other person has to say and then responding to it. Or if you're in a situation, let's say you're public speaking and you get nervous, it's because you're thinking about what you're going to say next, what other people are thinking, or whatever that reason is, versus just being yourself and like focusing on what the task at hand is. In the situation I gave you earlier, if I was like making a cold call, the task at hand is for me to communicate the value of my product to them, and then for them to like convince them to take a meeting with me to further evaluate. Like that's the task. And if they say what, like if they deter anyway from that, I have to be able to bring them back to center because I'm present. So I'm not in my head as much. So, but I'm not saying it's perfect. I definitely choke up at times. Sometimes I get overwhelmed with nerves. But you learn from it. So it's just I've been in these situations most of the time, in these situations so many times that it's like muscle memory where you learn to like overcome them. So it's mainly when I'm in a situation I've never been in, which for most people it would be too, like where those nerves really get a hold of you. But mastering yourself and knowing like, yeah, knowing yourself and then being able to overcome that for sure by coming bringing yourself back to present, to being present, helps a lot.
Oh yeah, that's super insightful, man. But kind of shifting to a little bit different topic now. I want to kind of go into your Cal State Fullerton. Your time here at Cal State Fullerton.
Yeah.
So, did you did you come like 4 years here, or did you go to community college and then transferred over?
Yeah, that's also a funny story because I have like one of those weird birthdays where I'm always the younger one in the group. So like I was born in October 7th in 1996, so I'm like 25. But when I joined college, I was 17. So like my first semester at Fullerton, I had to get like my parents to sign off everything, going to the gym, going to like signing up for jujitsu class, like doing all these different things. Like I had to get their parents' signature. So yeah, I went all for technically 5 years to Cal State Fullerton.
Oh, nice. Nice. So you started right off the bat as a
Yeah, as a
no,
freshman.
you
Yeah,
community.
freshman as a business pre-business before you declare. Since I didn't go to a community college, I had to do all like the prerequisite classes for business. That was my freshman year. I ended up changing my major pretty late in the game, like my third year of college. I changed it to communication advertising. I realized um, I realized business wasn't really for me. The business like courses weren't for me. I'm talking like accounting, econ, business law. Like for some reason, those classes just like I was so bored in them, and the content would not stick. None of it set felt applicable to my life, my day to day at least. Like because I was very involved with my school organizations. I already was working on the weekends. I was working other jobs during that time, interning at certain places, and just none of the knowledge was helping me in my day to day. So it really didn't, as it sounds, it didn't seem like the best use of my time. So I did supplement a lot of my learning with like my own books, my like books recommended by friends and mentors, audiobooks, podcasts, reading articles and stuff like that, taking training courses. So I kind of gave myself my own like education for sales and business and advertising and stuff like that. But then when I switched my major to communications, I learned it wasn't that I'm a bad student. I loved communications. I love writing. I love doing research on subjects and writing about it. And that's where I found out that I truly love copywriting, which I do to this day still. So it's like that classic quote or that saying where like you're not going to measure a fish by how high it could jump. You measure it based on like the actual determining factors. Like I just not the best with numbers, but when it comes to words and reading and comprehension, like pretty good in those areas. So when I switched my major, it just felt a lot better, felt like seamless. So like if you're in my advice to anyone in school right now, if you're in a major that like is draining you, like is really sucking the soul out of you, I would consider exploring a different field. Like even if yeah, that would be my 2 cents.
Oh yeah, that's great, man. I mean, I mean, in my opinion, to kind of start a business or work kind of like in a business entrepreneurship setting, like you can come from anywhere, and like an examples like yourself, you study communications and advertising. Right now, we have a couple members and some actually that are not even business. So like sometimes some great entrepreneurs come from like different walks of life and majors, which is
Yeah, of course.
uh, apart from some, were you kind of involved in other organizations? I know you also talked about being involved in what's it called, the Titan newspaper,
Yeah, the Daily Titan.
Daily Titan. There we go. Was there any other organizations that you were involved that kind of helped you out along your journey here in Cal State Fullerton?
Yeah, one of the first clubs I ever joined, along with some, was PBL. I'm not sure if there's still an organization on campus, but it was like Future Business Leaders of America. That's where actually I met a lot of some members before actually joining, pledging for some. So that was a good organization. They were very like they were pretty workshop based and everything. It was very light though, like it didn't have that community and like brotherhood that I was personally looking for, but it was just a nice place to just kind of meet other students. So that was like a good like dipping my toe and getting involved because everyone was really nice. That was one organization, but once I joined some, I kind of went all in. Like for me, I am also the type of person that just goes all into something. So as soon as I joined some, I definitely had that like, I'm not approving of this either, but I definitely have like that, like, this is my team mentality. Like, we're like, I'm a wolf. This is my wolf pack. And if you come near my wolf pack and try to hurt us, I will fight you. Not in an aggressive way, but like like, I just thought the sum was the best. And I only wanted to be involved with them. But as I got older, like once I got into like my junior, senior year, I definitely relaxed off of that like cult mentality and was definitely very open to like learning and seeing other groups. And I started to join more organizations. I tried joining Sync because our other buddy Lorenzo and others co-founded that. I was a part of the Cal State Fullerton Jiu-Jitsu Club. I was in that more involved like earlier in college, like freshman year. Um, Not many other clubs now that I would go to like the salsa and stuff like that for fun, but it wasn't until like my senior year that I joined the Daily Titan because I switched my major from business to advertising. And then I met our advisor, Professor Curlin, which is a lovely, lovely lady, if you haven't met her already. And she offered me a job at the Daily Titan because I knew a couple of folks in there too. And so it was just kind of like an easy mesh. They wanted me on the team. And then I got involved there as an account executive. So it was pretty cool to then apply what I had learned in previous sales jobs there at the newspaper and just like totally kill it with sales and reinvent their sales process and train people and hire people. It was quite the experience that I still hold with me to this day.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you were involved in. It sounds like a lot, but
I didn't realize it until like now that I'm reflecting on it. I was like, yeah, I would kind of like just bounce around like a bunch of different places.
yeah. But you kind of
Right.
mentioned before that kind of some was what was some like the one that impacted you the most apart from maybe like the Daily Tie-in?
Definitely, definitely. Some taught me a lot. It taught me a lot about myself for sure. Like again, building that self-confidence, being president so young, definitely taught me a lot about responsibility. When you're 19 years old, there's not many other responsibilities you have in the world other than, school, maybe a part-time job, family, friends. But like I was kind of given a huge responsibility of running a very early formed organization. And I made a lot of mistakes. Like, that's the truth. I was 19, didn't really have like much like organizational leadership experience. So a lot of it was trial and error, falling on my face, like being very overwhelmed, especially like being a shy, anxious boy. But the cool part of all that was everyone was still my friend at the end of the day. And even if there was like discrepancies, I did my best to resolve the issues. And like that was another huge fear of mine, was like conflict. I still don't like conflict. It makes me feel very uncomfortable. However, if there was an issue, I learned, if an issue arose with a colleague, a friend, anyone, it's better to address it sooner rather than later. And it taught me to stand up for myself. It taught me to just like, I have a mission. I have to set a goal, and I have to do whatever I can and whatever it takes to accomplish it. And if like for whatever reason, if something doesn't go our way, it's my fault. Like I did take that a lot. I never wanted to blame anyone. I didn't want to blame my team. Didn't want to blame whatever factors. Like it was I always took the blame on it, and just like, what could we have done better? And I was very like relentless on improving myself, because I knew if I improved myself, it would be for the betterment of the whole of the team. So in my second semester being president, I was able to like really apply a lot of the lessons I had learned from my mistakes. So like reaching out to all the people who reaching out to like a lot of our members who felt that they didn't have a great experience. And sorry, there's a fire truck driving by. But you know, reaching out to not customers, reaching out to members and asking them about their experience and how they felt and what they would like to see, actually listening to them, writing it down, and then going out and finding those things that they were looking for. They wanted more speakers, they wanted better events, they wanted more communication, they wanted like different things, right? At least during that time. I'm sure it sounds different and looks different for you now. But taking that, applying it, showing them that you're putting in the time and effort, creating like, I'm trying to find the word, involvement, getting people included, like showing them that there's areas that they can help in, and finding out what they want to do, what their goals are, and then figuring out like how can they use their skills and what they want to get better at and apply it to the organization, and then leveraging their skills. So it was a lot of like, yeah, just listening, being inclusive, and just like leading forward and not giving up. That's a big one, not giving up, for sure. That taught me a lot, because I couldn't. If I were to quit, I would live the rest of my life knowing that like I didn't give it my all. But now I can confidently say like, I did everything I could, and if you didn't like it, sorry. I did my best.
Oh, that's yeah. So you were so being in that president kind of president role did help you a lot in terms of just developing as a person, as a leader, right?
Of
Uh,
course, yeah.
but of course, as well, some is big big focus is networking and developing those friendships that you can have even after college. So I'm kind of curious, why is it important for you specifically to develop these close friends that are kind of like-minded and driven? It doesn't necessarily have to be, like you said, in the same industry as you, whether that's sales, marketing, or finance, but just people that are hungry for more. Why is it important for you to develop these connections?
Oh man, who you surround yourself with is so important. Like, we all know the Jim Rohn quote, right? It's on my Instagram too. Like, you are the average of the 5 people you hang around with the most.
Right.
And like, I mean, everyone that I've met for the most part, at some, like, who I have like a genuine relationship
Wait, why did it cut out?
with, so good with them, like so tight with them, and like I just really like my friends. What can I say? Like, it's just so important to have like a support system, like some backing you up, and vice versa. Like, it's really cool to think that now all these people who I felt were supporting me for so long, like in college and post grad and stuff, now I can be the person who's pushing them on. Like, I've had two friends already that gotten interviews for at my current company. So like right there, it's been huge. Like, and both of them were actually pledges that I recruited, which is even crazier now that I'm thinking about that out loud. Like, I got them interviews with my company at the tech startup that I work at. I've helped people that I worked with at the Daily Titan, at least two of them, get jobs by giving them referrals. Other members of some I've also given referrals to, and they've also gotten their jobs too. So it's like I genuinely care about the people who've supported me. I don't claim to be like one of those like self-made people. I'm not self-made yet. Like I have a long way to go, but I'm gonna support all the people who've supported me. And I know in the long run, it's gonna pay back. You know, whether it's through their friendship or maybe you never know. Like my mom used to always tell me, like you never know who's gonna be who, right? Like she used to always tell me like you don't know if that person that you're friends with in college is going to go become a millionaire business owner, or if they're going to, you know, buy a house someday and you go into real estate or whatever that might look like. So I guess one another story, and this is like doesn't have to do with sums necessarily, but like some guy, a recruiter, cold called me, which is kind of crazy to think that so like someone cold calls me now. And I didn't expect the call, and I answer it, and he was like, "Hey, Anthony," and I was like, "Hey, what's up?" He's like, "Do you know Josh Bustamante?" And he was a sub member. And I was like, yeah, I know Josh, he's my friend. And he's like, oh, great. Well, yeah, well, I'm friends with him too. Anyways, I'm a recruiter. And he just went into his pitch. And I was like, what the heck? And he name dropped someone that I knew from some. And like that just goes to show like how as soon as you name drop someone from some, I automatically associate you with being a friend. That's like a psychology hack, by the way. You name drop someone that you know to someone else, or that you both know, and they'll be way more likely to talk to you. But that was a weird tangent, but um yeah, I think it's just so important because like the connections we make now, you don't know how they're going to impact us in the future. So I say be friends with everyone that you can, be the best version of yourself that you can, so then other people remember you and you know they want to help you. People love helping other people. So
Yeah, no, definitely, definitely. I'm kind of curious as well to get a take on this. I know you mentioned was it the quote from Jim Rohn you said five.
oh, the you're the average of the 5 people you surround yourself with.
Yeah, so yes. So I think that's, I think that's, to an extent it's true, but there's also some people that say, uh, to put it, I think it's better to put it this way. So you want to surround yourself, of course, with people that are ambitious and stuff like that. Um, but let's say you've had some couple of high school friends that maybe they're not into business or entrepreneurship or self development or just stuff like that, and maybe they're more on the party
stuck
side,
stuck
or
in their ways,
you know not as I don't know how to phrase it, but
not as ambitious.
yeah, not as ambitious. Do you still hang around with those people, or do you cut them off completely?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. There's no right or wrong answer, and it's all on the person. The way I see things personally is that people are people, and everyone does things for their reasons. Like the reason why they act that way is because maybe they have no hope, maybe they don't believe in themselves, whatever that reason might be. In the past, I definitely had the mentality of you're not ambitious, you're not on my level, I don't want to associate myself with you. I've definitely have like softened up a lot more recently, just because I realized like human life is so precious, and like again, you don't know what other people are going through, or like when others will need your support and or you need theirs. So like I have some best friends from high school who didn't go to college. And they like to party, but I do too. So like we do hang out, and like I had them over at my place for their birthday, and it was like such a great weekend. And I got to catch up with another buddy who I haven't seen in years. And it was just more like the nostalgia and just getting to catch up with them. And then for them to also like for us just to reflect on our lives, like we knew each other in middle school, and now they look up to me and they say like, wow, Anthony, like you're doing great. And I like again, I'm telling them my self-doubts because I'm being vulnerable, I'm talking about my life, and they're saying like, dude, you're doing amazing, like you're great. So yeah, right now it might seem like you don't need to associate yourself with them because yes, they are in a different path than you are. And that doesn't necessarily mean you need to hold on to them. There's a difference between like letting people go, but then being able to come back to them and still have a conversation and be cordial versus like just cutting them off and never talking to them. But I do have those people in my life too, where it's like, you are a loser and I don't ever want to associate myself with you again. And that's okay. But there's also the people that like it's just they might be a little ignorant, or maybe they want to know and they just don't know where to get started. And if we just like judge them too soon, there has to be some nuance, I think. But I see where you're coming from, and I've definitely have like I've been that person too, where like I'm hanging out with a group of people and I'm thinking like, whoa, maybe I'm not on their level. Maybe I don't hustle as hard as I think I do. So maybe I party too much. Maybe I need to tone back. And so it's just like it's being aware of your surroundings, knowing your audience, and like, yeah, your own perspective. I don't see things too black and white. I'm not married to my ideas.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I mean, the only reason I asked that question was because I know some people, like myself, that they can take that quote to, to literal, to, to extreme, right? Where it's like, oh, if you're not ambitious, and that's what I kind of like thought a year or two ago, but it's now, like you said, I'm coming to a realization that, it's nice to, go back and hang out with my high school friends and stuff. Even
Yeah,
they may not be doing the same thing as I am. It's, you always have a good time and respect,
yeah,
their life, and who knows why they do what they do. But
yeah. It's moderation too, right? It's not like you're hanging out with them every single day. That's why it's like the quote says like the average, right? Like I hang out with my coworkers technically more than I do with like certain family members because I work with them for 8 to 10 hours a day. So like I like my coworkers. I think we have a great team going on and like we learn from each other. And so I'm okay with that. But like I have certain family members that I don't like to hang out with longer than 30 minutes. So it's just like you have to know your time too. It's just like not everything's black and white, but at the same time, like your worth and what you want to be doing and who you want to be hanging out with and stuff.
yep, that's true, man. So now I want to kind of touch upon, after college, after some, now you're in the,
Working.
you're working, sales job. Can you maybe explain to us a little bit about what you do?
Yeah,
Uh,
definitely. So
you're busy nowadays.
right at a sorry, go ahead.
I said, just explain what you do and what's keeping you busy nowadays.
Yeah, totally. So right out of college, I had a very, very awesome opportunity to work for a company called Oracle NetSuite. So Oracle is this huge conglomerate software company that started in, I believe, in the 80s or like, yeah, early 70s or something like that by Larry Ellison. And NetSuite was actually like a subsidiary company that Net Oracle bought for like $9 billion. It's kind of crazy. And started my career there in software sales. It was selling a ERP software, which is enterprise resource planning. So just think of like an accounting system on steroids. It can literally track every aspect of your business from accounting, sales, inventory, etc., and anything else that you really need. And it was a very like premium product. They were like one of the top like software companies in the world. And I was there for a year. It was a very, very, very great experience. Very fast paced, very professional, very organized, very corporate, like you would think. Wasn't really the place for me personally. The way that I was being measured in that role, it didn't align with where I thought my strengths were. And so I decided to leave. As crazy as some people would think that would is because I was on like a fast track to becoming an account executive in the software space, which is like a very a good career, I think. And so I ended up leaving because I just again didn't like the culture, didn't like the way I was being measured. And so it was a little nerve-wracking, didn't really know what I wanted to do because I felt like I felt like I was in college again in my business classes and I was failing. And it was like I don't know why I couldn't communicate with anyone, and it was tough. And then the moment I left and actually started to explore other companies, other types of startups, other companies that I would be open to actually working for and trying to find a product that I align myself with. I was very fortunate to also be recruited by my current company, Textio, which is a augmented writing software tech startup based in Seattle. And they recruited me. And from the first interaction to my final round interview, I loved every conversation I was having with the team. It just seemed like they were growth minded. They were an early stage startup. They were looking to grow their team, build processes, and I was actually going to be measured the way that I like to be measured, which is like not just setting an appointment up, but actually getting deals to close, like actually progressing them in the sales cycle. And then, of course, they did have like the pathway to become an account executive, which is still my career ambition, at least for software sales. And then So now that's what I do. I'm a market development representative at Textio, and I sell to enterprise size clients. So think of like your Apples, Amazons, Raytheons, Lockheed Martins, like super huge companies in the world. I sell to their talent acquisition and diversity and inclusion departments, and I sell them a software that helps remove bias, unconscious bias in their anywhere they write, job descriptions, recruiting mail, their website, things like that. So I love it. I think it aligns really well with my values of, diversity, inclusion. The team is very growth oriented, super curious. We love learning by making. So like I align with the company values. I love who we're selling to because I didn't like working for Oracle and being like the man selling to like the little guys. But I like the idea of being in a startup, the little guy selling to the man, the big corporate companies of the world. So I'm enjoying it now. Am I going to stay here forever? Probably not. But I do see myself, moving up into an account executive role, potentially leadership, because I've already done like hiring within the company. I've interviewed candidates and stuff like that. I've built a team, and I have a knack for leadership from what I'm told, even by my manager. So maybe that's in the cards at this company. If not, then the other projects I got going on, I'll definitely always be in a leadership role. For the most part of my life, I do see myself in a lot of like mainly leadership training development roles because I found that I get the most satisfaction from helping other people grow.
Right. No, that's super interesting what you do, man. So apart from that, working at TechSkill, uh, do you have any other side hustles, or are you full on just focused on your current job?
Yeah, that's a good question because I usually have been the type of person who likes to only do one thing at a time because I get overwhelmed. Like I like to be good at what I'm doing. But it wasn't until like when I was working at Oracle, I had a brief stint of starting a nonprofit with another buddy that was in some called Rebuild Hour. And that was like a very, like, very, very, very eye-opening and liberating experience, but it was a little overwhelming. And so like trying to run a nonprofit and also work for a Fortune 500 company was like too overwhelming for me at the time. So it didn't last very long after we started it. And then I kind of took like a hiatus from like just doing other projects. So I was only working at Oracle. And then when I left, I tried starting like my own like consulting thing, helping my parents in their business. Wasn't really finding traction. So I ended up looking for another job. And then ended up getting recruited by Textio. And then I went for another pretty like 6 or 7 months where I wasn't doing anything other than just working on the job. Um, Probably until I moved to Newport last summer is when I started working with my friends who live here, Renee and Daniel Casares and a handful of other folks, working on a startup called Jewelify. It's essentially a platform to help jewelry companies, modernize, get their digital marketing go up and going, and then eventually move into e-commerce and things like that. So I've been helping them with like their sales process, implementing sales systems, like for like to automate emails and things like that of that sort. And then I started recently working on another project that I'm going to keep on the hush hush for right now. I don't want to say anything out loud, but yeah, it's been really cool with that. Like we literally just started maybe a few weeks ago, and we're already seeing like traction with it. And I'm handling all the sales part of it. So like writing the messaging, finding the clients, messaging them, getting appointments set up and stuff like that. So I've kind of got this like business development thing pretty down. So I think my next side hustle, if you will, would be like writing. I really love writing. So I'm working on a couple books and would like to maybe do some freelancing, write some stuff for some other companies. So we'll look into that in the future.
Awesome, man. Kind of going back, so you said you guys were getting traction. Was it on the project that you're keeping on the low, or was it on the Julify?
A bit of both. So for the one for Jewelify, it's a little more difficult than we anticipated, but we're
When
definitely we got the process down. So go ahead.
when did you guys start that?
We started about a year ago. So
Oh,
it's been a while, and it's been a lot of like trying to get like who our target audience is, trying to identify who they are, where are they at, what's the best way of communicating with them. So it's been a lot of like trial and error for sure. And yeah, there's definitely a lot we still have to do. And I'm really excited to try to figure out some of that. I'm actually going to work on that right after this call. But that's really exciting because we are actually starting to pick up some traction. We're getting some responses, getting feedback on like, okay, great, this isn't working. What can we adjust? Or like, oh, we hired this person. Okay, maybe we didn't have all the training documents we thought we did, so now we got to like really start building this out like as we're going. So it's definitely like a lot of learning, a lot of learning on the go, on the fly. And then for the other one, when I said I was on the hush hush, that one too, like we're getting responses from our messaging, and like we have like, you know, a couple meetings set up already that we'll be talking with like potential buyers. So it's like, ooh, all right, let's keep going.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. So I kind of wanted to touch upon your passion now. I know
Yeah.
you said, what you're doing with textile, you you might see yourself or might not see yourself there for a long time. I know you said you wanted to maybe one day become a account executive, right? But what is like, is that your true passion, or that you feel like you're, I guess,
Yeah.
destined in this life, or is it more on the content writing side? What's your biggest passion, you would say?
I'm trying to think. So yeah, again, no right or wrong answer, no like black or white, but like I would say my passion, I can't like assign it to like one thing because like there's a few things I think the word I'm very passionate about is like I love community. I think that's what it is. I think that's my passion is community. Because I love speaking to people, new people. I love persuading people. It's a game. It's like psychology. It's fun. And I'm trying to like hack people's brains to get them to, you know, meet with me, to buy from me. Um, I love bringing people together. Like, yeah, I love hosting. I love like having like parties. I love being the host of a banquet. I love seeing people having such a good time. Like that's what I'm passionate about. How that relates to sales, it's communicating with people. It's like having something valuable to give them, and like you're excited about what you're selling, and like you're excited to talk to them. So it's like a double whammy. Like you have something you love, you're like, oh dude, this is a great product, like you people need to see this. So that's what's important. Like I'm excited about what I have to sell. I wasn't excited at Oracle. I didn't like accounting. I didn't like selling accounting software. I don't like accountants. I didn't like talking to accountants. So it was very like there was conflict within me. I wasn't confident. I didn't like what I was selling. I didn't like who I was talking to. Versus now, I love my product. I think it's cool. It's a writing software. I love writing. I write in it all the time. So I understand it, and I understand its impact. And then I also love the people I'm selling to. I love speaking to leaders and talent because I've hired before, and I know it's challenging and it's fun, and there's people who need those opportunities. And how can we help them interview better? How can we help them remove their bias? So I love talking to them because I'm like, dude, you can hire better people. Like we should have a conversation. I love speaking to leaders in diversity and inclusion because they're so inclusive and they love, bringing people up. So it's just an easier conversation for me. Um, but other things I'm passionate about, like growth in general, like fitness. I love fitness. I've taught myself how to box. I do jujitsu. I weightlift all the time. um, I don't know how I would monetize that. Maybe become like a personal trainer or something on the side.
Maybe.
I could do that. Yeah, I'd be down. It's funny. For my retreat, when I was pledging, I pitched a gym that also makes meal preps for you with like a cafe inside. So maybe I'll start that. Maybe I'll buy a studio, put some weights in there, make an office space, little cafe.
Yeah, that
Okay,
sounds
cool.
awesome.
Subscribe for $59.99.
Subscription model. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, let's go.
I mean, fitness is huge, man. I mean, you can do a lot of stuff with fitness.
Totally.
No, but yeah, I mean, I think community. That's a very good answer. Community, just building community and just people. I think that's very important.
Yeah, the
Uh,
power of people, it's pretty cool when you can mobilize a group,
yeah,
you can do pretty powerful things.
yeah, man. Um, Let me see here. So I lost my question here. I was gonna
No
ask.
worries. I lose my train of thought all the time. All the time.
Yeah, so I mean, you're a little very, very busy right now with your current job and your other side hustle, your other side hustles, I should say, with Julify and the other one. Um, what drives you? Is it like you said? Is it community? Is it money? Is it your family? Is it getting to a point of financial freedom, or what is it? What truly drives you? To pursue all these things and just like you said, keep growing.
Yeah, all the above, man. Literally everything you just said, like right there, nail on head on the nail. Yeah, it really is all those things. Like, let's be honest. I'm not where I want to be financially, personally. So I want to have that financial freedom. So I'm more than happy to work my ass off to have that. And like, yeah, I'll be up till midnight, 2 a.m., 3 a.m. sometimes. And like, that's all right. Like, I like what I'm doing, working on anyways. And I do want financial freedom. That's why I went into sales, because I figured sales is one of the best ways without becoming a lawyer or doctor to make a lot of money. And I love the commission based model, because then it's literally the work you put in is what you're going to reap, right? So like, if I put in extra hours, if I put more work in, if I get better at selling, I'm going to make more money. I love that because I'm in control, versus being like in most other roles and being subject to like, maybe you get a quarterly bonus, maybe you get an end of year bonus. So I just like the idea of me being in control, making money. A lot of it is family now for me, because my family's giving me so much, man. Like, my parents were from Mexico and they busted their ass off, their lives working in like construction, starting their own business, doing real estate. So like, I've always seen them working hard, and it's the least that I can do is, work my ass off like they did, so I can have a better future for myself, my future family, and of course to take care of my parents when they're older. I would love to help them either sell their business and or get it to be automated where it's like passive income for them.
Yeah,
And just,
I know
I
you
guess like the
said,
last one, sorry, the last one that's kind of like, it used to be like prove my haters wrong. I used to like think that way, where like, since I was like I was picked on as a kid, like when I was really little, and then I was always kind of like the black sheep of the family, so I was always like, and the middle child, so I was like, I'll prove them wrong and I'll be, famous, or I'll be successful. But now it's more like prove myself wrong, like prove myself right, actually. Like, I do it for myself now. Like, my favorite person to look at is myself in the mirror in the morning. Like, I love myself. And yeah, so that's been another big reason. Like, I say I'm gonna do something and I ask myself, okay, why do you actually want to do it? Like, when I say I want to become the best salesperson at my company, it's like, why do I want it? So I get the respect of the people on my team, or do I want it because I have an internal drive to just be the best version of myself? It's that one. It's not so much like I do things for like externalities. And sometimes, yeah, like I want a vacation, or I want to buy this, whatever, this car, this whatever. I'll bless my ass off for it. But um, I'm just driven internally to grow, to just do the best that I can.
yeah, no, I think yeah, this is super good answers there, man. Um, yeah, so we're in 2022, and just if you want to share with us, some of your biggest goals for this year, or maybe one of your biggest goals that you want to accomplish this year in particular, that would be good.
Yeah, I got a couple goals.
It can be business or it can be any other one.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like my personal ones. So like, for sure, like within my professional career, I want to get promoted to an account executive by the end of the year, which I totally know that I can, whether it's with my company or I leave and go to another company. By the end of the year, I will be an account executive. That's for sure. Um, Another one would be with the side projects that I'm working on with my friends and colleagues. I'd like to get those to be like cash flow positive. Like, I'd like to get their systems down where I'm now leading. I want to build teams. Like, I want to start my thing where I'm building sales teams for other companies. Um, I think I've got a lot of the foundational skills down, and like like baseline processes, and then it's just a matter of implementing it, like just executing and just finding other customers that I can do it for, or other clients that I can consult for. And something another thing I've been really wanting to do this year is I want to. It might not even be that first thing I was just telling you about building sales teams. It actually might be helping current graduates and just other people that I know who want to get into sales, into or just change their career in general. I'd love to start helping people actually get like starting their careers in sales, tech sales, or other areas that they need help in. So reviewing people's resumes, helping them set their LinkedIn's up, identifying companies to apply for, helping them with the interviewing process. I think that one's a more immediate that I actually take action on, and I have been with a few people already. So by the end of the year, I'd like to have like, a handful of people that I've helped get sales jobs for. That's like a very personal thing. Last thing I'll mention, because I know I got a lot. My mom, she's pivoting her catering business to go into more like event marketing.
Right, right.
Sorry, event catering. Because she's been doing it for so long, and she's had a few clients that way, but as they're growing older and stuff like that, it's hard to do what they're doing right now day to day. So we're gonna find a way to find new customers that way. We already have like a good game plan going on so far, and then eventually we can hire people to kind of take over the business and then just kind of run it from manage it. And
Right.
so working on that with her, hopefully by the end of the year. Yeah, this summer we're going to be going pretty ham on the events, and then so by the end of the year, I'd like to get them in a very comfortable position. So for the following year, they can start looking at like either growing it or hiring people to take it over. But those are the goals in mind. We'll see how far we actually get.
Awesome, man. Yeah, I'm sure we're gonna be looking back at this interview at the end of this year and with all the goals accomplished, man.
Let's
But
go.
yeah, so now kind of I want to ask you one final question before we wrap things up here. Um, so what do you want to be remembered as, when you're on your deathbed, uh, what do you want to have left in this world, and what do you want to, people to know you as, Anthony, as?
Well, it's so heavy. I would say I would love for people to remember me as someone who's just like
Yep.
so loving and was there for you when you needed it. And you can just like always count on me to have a conversation. Yeah, that's all I want to be remembered as, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah, that's simple but super super great, man. Uh, yeah, that was it, man. Thank
Thank
you
you.
so
Thank
much
you.
for, taking the time out of your day. I know we're all busy and stuff like that. But thanks. I'm sure this interview will help a lot of people out.
I
Uh,
hope so. I hope
some
so.
members. Yeah,
Yeah, but feel free to add me on Instagram, Anthony Y_R. I'm pretty funny. Just kidding, I'm not. What else? I don't have a Twitter. Text me at 714-273-1036.